Welcome everyone to the Seneca County Board of Commissioner meeting. Today is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and this is our regular board meeting. So we have a special guest, Dennis, that will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Schuff, prayer please.
Please pray with me. Dear Lord, please help to give us guidance and direction here as we go to conduct county business here for the betterment of our residents and citizens. Please help us to do your will. Please help us to work together for the betterment of our community. Just a special prayer for our men and women overseas protecting our freedoms every day. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We'll let Mike join us.
Just have to hit the green button.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Commissioner. How are you?
Very good.
Good, Mike. We're doing a little keeping, so stand by, okay?
You got it. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. Welcome. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuff,
Here.
Commissioner Franker.
Here.
So at this time, I will accept a motion to approve the digital audio recordings of our prior board meeting last week on November 16th for our regular session and also for our Raccoon Creek Joint Ditch Hearing meeting that we had Tuesday, November 21st.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. Thank you. If you can't tell, Barb's under the weather a little bit, so we'll try to limit your questions we have for you.
Okay.
So she's answered by her eye rolls and, yeah, so if we got a line, when you see her like that.
We get the look, we'll understand that. Thank you. Newly retired, Dennis, when was your last day?
Oh, it was November 15th.
15th.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for your service. Mike Diddle's on the phone. He normally would join us at the end in public comment, but under the new arrangement, when he's officially going to speak in our meeting, we will put him on the agenda, and you can see his name there after a few other items of business. So we do have RFP openings. I'd like to do that first,
Okay.
if that's okay. So Barb will
Okay, we'll get started
conduct
with that.
that. We have to circulate a sign-in sheet. It is 10:03. And this bid opening is for, you might want to explain that. Barb.
Energy Conservation and Facility Improvements Project. It's kind of, we're trying to look at ways to improve lighting, heating, air conditioning, but also trying to get energy savings. So we've asked for bids for all of the buildings, with the JJC being, and the annex being exempted. I believe they both included them, but as an alternate kind of a thing. So we'll go from there, I guess.
So go ahead and open the bids.
The first one is from Wadsworth. Let's see if I can find these numbers quickly.
This is actually the first time in my 15 years as a township trustee and being here for a little less than a year that we've ever got a box of, for bid openings, so it usually comes in a packet, so that's.
Maybe that fits the-
Exactly, so,
Okay.
that's the first for me. I'm about Tony, if you guys ever had that before or not, but, yeah, that's the first time I ever had a, something like that would come in boxes, so.
I have to find,
I'm sure legal counsel reads through.
So as a backdrop, just to keep the meeting flowing, tell me when you're ready, Barb, so the public understands the process. We sent out an RFP inviting companies to come in and take a look at all our buildings. We had two. This has been going on for several months now. Both companies have copies of our utility bills. Both companies have toured all the buildings that the commissioners own. think that's a fair statement.
Yes.
And they have put together proposals for us to review. And the proposal would be, we could save you money here if we did this, and we could save you money there if we did that, controls. It's no secret, the jail's 25-plus years old. Some of these buildings we know need upgrades and repairs, thank you. Some of the buildings may not need them, but if it's cost-effective and makes economic business sense, then we would also consider that. So we will, after these bid openings, I believe we have dates for each of them to come in.
I haven't set those, but yes, we
We're
will
setting
get
those,
those.
so we will look at them with internally, along with John and maintenance and others if needed, and then each company will come in, and then we'll have questions for them. At the end of that process, then the commissioners will pick, assuming everything's what we think it is, right, you guys? Then we will pick one of the companies to move forward with beginning next year, and we will lay that all out to the public when we get to that point. So does anybody want to add anything to that?
No, I think it's a good summary on that, yes.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, a lot of these companies too, they're also putting a guarantee on guaranteed savings, and if it doesn't save us money in certain areas, they're writing us a check back, so it's not only saving us money, but we're constantly getting hit up with surprises. Furnace
Yeah.
goes out here, boiler there, we're constantly getting bombarded with surprises, so we're trying to be proactive and get ahead of some of these buildings that we have.
That's a good point, and we will further explain that when we finalize it. But to your point, the intent here is, if we spend $100,000 to fix this, we want to see $100,000 savings back in some sort of energy savings. And to Commissioner Schuff's point, that's part of what's in the RFQ, that will be guaranteed by the company that does the work. So it's pretty exciting, at least on the surface, to go through the process. Something we've been wanting to do for a while, and we're at this point in the process. So if you, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Wadsworth's bid is $1,930,000 at 396. $1,930,396.
Okay.
Sorry. Their energy savings is broken up, so I don't have an actual total for the energy savings, but I can get that information.
We'll have to get in there.
Yeah.
Got some reading to do.
Yep.
I think our next comment back to the public, we may have several updates to the public. This is what I like to do, keep everybody informed as to the progress. But we absolutely need to go through these, bring them in, ask them a bunch of questions. There's a lot of moving parts. I think at that point, we would, let's get an update.
Right, yeah, once we
And
get
then,
it,
we may not have chosen anybody then, but then if we did choose somebody, fine. If not, then when we choose somebody, then we'll lay everything out to your point, Commissioner Schuff, what our thinking is and what our financial commitment would be and why and all those kind of things. So I think we're, this could this be the first of the year? Is that what you're thinking?
I think we'll work towards that goal.
Trying to, but it could be in January when we finalize everything. Is that
Oh, yeah,
reasonable?
yeah.
Or maybe more.
Yep.
And to piggyback on what Commissioner Paradiso said, we've tried to do our due diligence. I mean, we've looked at the history and resume of these guys. We've had multiple meetings with them. We've seen the jobs that they've done for other municipalities, governments, colleges. So we've done some homework on this.
The next.
Both are qualified, no question.
Yeah, the next company
Thank you.
that I have is Brewer Garrett, and their bid is $1,252,799.
Okay. 1252799. So at this time, we will, there's no other action needed, right?
No.
So we will, most of the time, we turn these bids over. If it's for roads, we would turn it over to our engineer, that kind of thing. these two bids will stay in-house at the Commissioner's office, and we will engage John in maintenance and any outside, including Derek, our prosecutor, any outside resources we need. We ourselves will go through this and come up with a solution for an answer, right? Pick one. Okay, thank you. Anything else? We good?
That concludes the bid opening.
Tara, do you mind if we have Commissioner, if we have Mike Diddles give us a quick update, and then you're up next, okay? Mike, will feel free, you're up to give Seneca County an update on things in Columbus.
You got it. Thanks, Commissioners. Appreciate your time this morning. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving last week. So here we are at the end of November. The legislature has just a couple of weeks left in the first part of their session until they break again for the holidays, and then they'll re-engage on a legislative session again starting in January. So all the bills and everything that have been introduced and are still pending out here will continue on for another calendar year until the end of 2024. So it's not that everything goes away. It just we take a little break for the holidays. Obviously, the two kind of big focuses, I think, over the next several months will be something that we've talked about many times before, and that is Senator Reineke's bill, Senate Bill 119. I was glad to see Commissioner Frankert in Columbus for a little while for some meetings on that yesterday. But then the big, more looming items that are coming up with deadline approaching are the state capital budget. And as I think we've talked previously, but I'll reiterate again, this is a little bit of an unusual capital budget situation for two reasons. Number one, there's significantly more money attached to this upcoming budget. We have not only the typical $150 to $160 million worth of bonded capital infrastructure projects that are available statewide. That's sort of the total pot. The legislature in the budget in June also approved of an additional one-time $700 million worth of strategic initiatives to be split among the state for calendar year 24 and in the fiscal year 25. So we've got a lot more money, but there's also going to be a lot more asks. It's also the second reason this is different is not only this one-time strategic investment fund with more money, but the deadlines are different for the first time between the House and the Senate. The House deadline is the one that is coming up quickly. It's the deadline for us to submit county projects to State Representative Gary Click. It's coming up here in December. I believe it is on December 18th. We have plenty of time to get those same projects filed within the Senate. The deadline to do so for Senator Reineke so that he can prioritize his projects is not until April 8th. So I don't expect that the capital budget will be done in any fashion until probably May or more likely June. But the actual deadlines to get projects to your local legislators are coming up, with the House one coming up here in about 3 weeks.
Hey, Mike, question. So,
Yes, sir.
on the 18th, does the House want requests for both buckets of money? Or
Yes,
just, okay,
they do.
They do?
Mhm.
Okay,
They
so
do.
we have a meeting Monday to finalize that, right?
Yes, we do.
We've obviously, you were here for one of the meetings, but we will, we're going to split it up. Instead of the big buckets, thinking we did not have to split it up, we now have to allocate some ask for the 150 million and then the rest for the one-time money, right?
That's true, and what I would also recommend is, what I would do is you're having this meeting on Monday, gather up your projects. We could certainly jump on a call shortly thereafter and talk about them. We may want to include in that call Senator Reineke's office and Representative Click's office, separately or together, because what I think will happen is, because this $700 million in the Strategic Initiatives Fund is so new and is so different, that is general revenue fund money. So it is less restrictive, and those things don't necessarily have to be bonded. But because of that, the legislature may actually help us and say, actually, we think this is a better use for this fund versus the capital budget, or vice versa. I wouldn't pigeonhole yourself too much in saying you have to figure out which one's which. I think we can get in touch with the right folks to help us, but it'll just be important to know what your priority projects are as the county.
Okay.
And Mike, our meeting's at 10 o'clock on Monday. If you're available then, if we got questions, we can call you. Or is that,
Yes, oh, of
Okay.
course, absolutely. I will mark that on my calendar, make sure I am available.
Yeah, so I guess you answered my question, but when we met last time, we kind of lumped things into 3 buckets. What we need to do now, we still can lump them into buckets, but we need to be more, we have to have each line specific.
right.
Like we have to have, so if we're gonna apply for a ventilator in EMS, we need to have that in there and tactical gear and so we're gonna have to, which we kind of have. But we'll
Right.
have to get that more specific with numbers next to it, right?
That's exactly right. And what we'll do too is the forms that both Senator Reineke and Representative Click are having to respond to with the House and Senate leadership respectively are a little bit different. So once you have the actual money that you're going to request, what it would be used for, and also I would be ready to talk about what local match, if any, is going to be coming in for each of these projects. Then Highbridge will work very closely with you, filling out the forms, making sure it's up to par with what you think should be in there, and we'll work with you on submission as we have in the past.
Okay, that's where we need to work on the match parts. Right. Okay, I have no other questions, Barb. Anything?
Thanks for the explanation, Mike.
Mike, sure appreciate you
Yeah, no problem.
meeting with us yesterday, along with Chairman Kick. So that was, I think, a fruitful meeting, so thank you for that.
Glad to do it anytime, and if there's other meetings that you need us for, we're happy to oblige. One thing to note too, the legislative session for the House and the Senate was also just released for the first part of 2024, and it's pretty light. It's not a very aggressive calendar. It doesn't mean they're not going to do a lot on those days, but there's not a whole lot of session in the early part of the spring. I do think most of their legislative efforts, not everything, but most, will be in line with the same timing as the capital budget, April, May, and June. So it'll be a little lighter, but that'll help us prepare our capital budget submissions, and I'm sure there'll be other things that pop up. So please, of course, reach out if there's anything else we can help with.
Yeah, and then one more thing, Mike, finally, so, let's say we submit a list to Representative Click's office on December 18th. It doesn't necessarily have to be the exact list, this is a question, for Senator Reineke in April. We could add a thing or two or subtract it, right? Or
That's exactly right.
But ideally, we want to be pretty much in alignment, but we do have the ability, it's a question, do we have the ability to slide something in that we don't know about?
Yes, I would be surprised if that didn't happen on a regular basis in a lot of these, because this is such a different process. Historically, as you know, the deadlines have been the same for both chambers. That way everybody submitted the same thing at the same time, and then the bill, once it came out, was largely agreed upon before it ever had a vote. I think in this instance, it's actually more likely that the bill will go through some changes when it goes to the Senate. It'll be treated more like a state operating budget versus it just being the same kind of rubber stamp between the two chambers. So we should do our best to try and outline all the projects we want for this first submission, but let our legislators know we're going to continue working on this, and based on conditions that may change, we may seek a minor revision throughout the process.
Okay, thank you. Any?
You're welcome.
No other comments at this point, Mike, we're going to hang up on you, okay?
All right, very good. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, Mike.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So Tara, we have, this is just a pause, so the commissioners have engaged Highbridge. Boy, there's my first
You're good.
senior moment, this happens, okay. We've engaged Highbridge, that's basically a consulting lobby group. They're housed in Ohio, this is for the benefit of the taxpayers, just every once in a while we pause and remind ourselves of this. And they are full-time, year-round, and so any veteran issues, any issues at all that are going on in Columbus that we need local voice in, or we want to get information back, to not only directly to Senator Reineke's office or Representative Click's office, but Mike and his firm are unbelievable with how they're connected down there, and we talk regularly. And they were absolutely instrumental in getting the EMS Medicaid reimbursement. And thanks, Kelly, you did a nice article on that, by the way. So I just want you to know we have that resource down there. If you ever need anything, or you guys are lobbying, the veterans have something going on. that
See
you
a
need,
grant opportunity or something
or
for
anything,
veterans.
yeah. We would be glad to use Mike. Do you want to add anything to that? Because you've seen
Right,
it firsthand.
From firsthand,
Sure.
right, and that's when we just walked around yesterday, it's
You've
kinda
been
like,
with it.
felt like you was forced up, like, man, Mike, a lot of the reps, so he's very well known down there and very, seems like respected and stuff, so. yeah.
We were hesitant at first, signing that contract. We thought it was a waste of money. We were told, but now that we've been through a few rounds, we feel it's money well spent. As commissioners, we feel this is money well spent. And Seneca County gets back absolutely a return on what we spend. So just want to throw that out there. And Mike will be on, I think, Barb, once a month, we're gonna have him on maybe, or as needed otherwise, but, so going forward, we're just gonna put him on the agenda, and maybe we can put him on first. And then he can hang up. Okay, thank you. So, that said, we have the most important person, or group on our agenda today, and we'll bring you up. This is Veteran Services Budget Hearing. So I'll turn it over to you, Tara, however you want to do it.
Well, thank you for having us today. Each year, we request a budget hearing so we can kind of go over what our office is doing with the money that you allow us to have in our budget.
That's always good.
Well, you do get a pretty good return in federal dollars from the VA, from the work that our office does out there. So I place before you 2022's GDX is what we call it. The expenditures that the VA puts out into this county from the monies that our office spends to run in all aspects. In 2022, our population did decline. In 2021, it was approximately 3,500, and it went down to just slightly over 3,200.
When you say population, veteran population.
They passed on.
Yeah.
We have very few World War II. Our Korea, they are dwindling quickly, mostly because of age, and Vietnam, because they're sick. So, you will probably see that number continue to decline over the next few years, I would expect. Let's move forward here. So, we were authorized $726,997.57 in our budget. We spent $530,912.88. We brought in a total federal VA dollar amount of $27,087,873.28. So it works out to be about 51 to 1. So each $1 the county authorizes us to spend, we bring $51 of VA money in.
Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're really thankful that your office and you work with us.
Oh,
Yes.
I think our offices are role models for other counties.
Yeah.
So
are you part of a district, or, Northwest Ohio or anything like that, or it's just state offices? Is that how it goes?
each county Veterans Service office
Mhm.
runs itself.
They're all separate,
They're
right?
all separate.
Okay.
But we do fall under 5901, so we have to follow those rules, and we try to do so to the letter best we can. Indigent burial, our budget, just many different aspects.
We do have a question. I know Mr. Bradwell in the back, who ran the, he's a veteran, see him in the back, who also,
I'm not sure who Mr.
raise your hand, will you,
is.
Tom?
I talked to you already on the phone.
Yep, Army veteran, but he worked, in his retirement years, he worked back in the county cemetery. And I believe you told me, I'm gonna ask this question, if you're a veteran and you're indigent, you don't have to be buried there, you could be buried somewhere else?
I just did an indigent burial.
Yeah, so how,
So
Go
what
ahead.
we did for that particular
Yeah.
indigent burial, it was last year, but late, I think, or early this year. We coordinated with a local funeral home.
mhm,
They are authorized $1,000, and in this particular case, they did a cremation and provided an urn to the family. That family coordinated with Dayton National Cemetery, and that veteran was interred there.
so
It was
that, so
seamless.
that's what you were saying, you can go to
Yes.
a national or a veteran cemetery, and you would coordinate that?
I do help with that,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Our office does. I'm
Cool.
not the only one that works there.
Yeah, no, but I think this is good as commissioners, because, Tom, go ahead, clarify that.
I received that information from these people a number of years ago. I don't know who it was, but that's how I knew it.
Because there's someone buried at the county cemetery who's a veteran. And I guess you discovered they were a veteran after they were buried. And he said to me in one of our talks and walks back there, you know, they could have been maybe buried somewhere else. So that's why we're having this discussion. So it's good for us to know.
There are a couple things that will preclude you from being buried in a national
Okay.
cemetery, but,
For the most part, that you figure that part out. So if we ever up here, in any of our tenures or the future commissioners, have an indigent individual, thank you, the question we must ask is, are they a veteran? And if we find out they're a veteran, then we contact you.
yes.
And we will work with you to either wherever.
Yes, we have a good working relationship with the funeral homes in the area.
Of course.
And, you know, they are usually very willing to assist us when there is a family that's in need. Now, keep in mind, indigent means indigent.
Right,
It doesn't mean we don't want to pay.
yeah. No, I
Indigent
understand.
means
Oh,
there
we
are no
understand.
funds.
Could you introduce your guest to us, please?
Yes, I would love to. This is my administrative assistant, Sarah Deponette. Good morning.
Sarah. We know who does all the work.
Ken Stahl represents the VFW.
Ambets.
Oh, sorry,
Ambets.
Ambets, Winchubog does VFW. And Jody O'Millions at large.
At large, not is large.
And I believe to work at Veteran Services, you need to be a veteran?
That is not
That
true.
is not true?
You
Okay.
have to have someone in your family who is a veteran. Sarah here is a civilian, actually. Well,
Okay,
we all were civilians one time, but she doesn't have military service.
so your father or someone in
My
your
grandfather.
Your grandfather, okay, yeah, good.
No, She's
That's-
become
you
vital
would
to
be.
our office. She's the first employee we've had other than Pat Warren. And Pat Warren worked for veterans in this county for over 30 years. She was quite notorious. She worked until she was, I want to say it was either 88 or 92. She was up there in her years, and she was still coming in her high heels and her business suit
That's
every
awesome.
day.
Yeah,
She was wonderful. And she worked almost right up until the time she passed. She loved it. Her husband was a veteran and he passed.
and you love veterans, you would be there. Yeah,
Correct.
It's just how
You
we-
gotta kind of love veterans to be
Absolutely.
there. Veterans can be cantankerous.
That's okay. Yeah, we can. So, do you need anything from us?
Just to know if our budget will be authorized, whenever you guys get around to that.
We're working on them.
Perfect.
We will have a little more, you're free to go, but we'll get back to you. And
Perfect.
everything's great, but you don't have any, you're happy with You don't need anything, because this is the time to bring it up.
Sounds to me like you're already working on our biggest complaint,
Yeah.
so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So, your building is in the sweet spot. Yeah, John is here, so we know he sends his guys out there all the time.
When you have a veteran for burial, you don't just find them a home in the VA cemeteries. Do you supply a burial plot in Seneca County in one of the cemeteries other than our
That's a good question.
county?
You actually own quite a few cemetery plots.
Yeah, township trustee
Not
versus us.
our office, you own them, and I have documentation of those. They are designated for veterans. At various cemeteries, I can get you the information I hold.
Would you, John, that's a great question, actually.
Well, I've run into
I'm
this.
glad you brought that up.
I've run it, and I just wanted to bring it to light.
There's a lot of them out Seneca Memory Garden,
Okay.
quite a number of them.
Keep in mind
Did
that.
you know that, Tom? Were you aware of that?
No.
Yeah, okay. Just nice to know.
Keep in mind that we don't run into indigent burial very often.
Yeah, of course.
And
That's a
also
good
keep
point.
in mind that each cemetery is still authorized to charge what it will for opening and closing and placement of the government marker.
Okay.
We have purchased plots or had them donated by folks who had them and did not need them or want them any longer, for whatever reason.
Okay, well, we'll cross that bridge when it comes again, and we'll be involved in a conversation versus we don't know what's going on, so I think that's
Yeah.
good.
Do we
You guys have
know,
go ahead.
yeah, do we know of all of the veterans in the county? Because I know,
No.
like, some of the younger ones don't always come forward or
No.
don't.
I have no way of figuring that either because there is no requirement to register when you move or you're discharged. That is not something that we would even be able to maintain because of privacy issues. Veterans are free to come and go as they want, as they please. This is about the best guess that we have, but I do estimate that we have more veterans that live in Seneca County. They're just not using the VA system.
Gotcha, okay.
I would guess our numbers are probably closer to 4,600.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? Yes, sir, Joe.
Speaking of the National Guard and reserves, we, Ken and I had our commissioner meeting down in Columbus, the 18th. And that was a subject brought up about the National Guard and reserves not being, excuse me, not being told about our offices or what the, now they're eligible for VA benefits when they, like our men and women just got back from Northwest Ohio, just got back from a year's worth of active duty. They are now bona fide veterans, and they are eligible for VA benefits if they're entitled to any. And a lot of them aren't told about our offices. I just ran into a young man that just got back. It was Peanut's grandson. I can't think of his name. Chatty guy. Anyway, I said, were you told, did you go through a TAP seminar? Were you told about our office? He said, yeah, 6 months before they got back. Of course, you forget everything they tell you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this office has, comes across any dealings with the National Guard or reserves, the commanders or anybody.
Put it out on the-
Because it'd be nice somehow, like, when these men and women get back to their local county or home, to know about us, and they don't. So it's kind of, disheartening to
It's
hear.
an
that.
educational piece. We need to kind of get out to the public and let them know.
Yeah, locally, like,
Yeah.
and because they're working on the bill. They're working on something for the National Guard and Reserves statewide to have a TAPS is a transition assistance program, to have a TAPS seminar. And I asked the kid if he had one. He said, yeah, but it was like 6 months after they got there. It was 7 months before they got home, so everything goes out one ear and out the other, so. I don't know.
Is that bill moving along pretty good? You
Yeah.
feel good about it?
Do you remember what I
Get Mike
said about it?
No, I just remember the other one.
You follow up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Commissioner Franklin will follow up on that.
So
I'm
it's
sure.
just, it's kind of
Yeah.
concerned about it, now these young men and women are eligible. A lot of Guard and Reserve aren't because they never did active duty, more than 90 days of active duty service. Well, now all these men and women that just got back over a year, so they're well, eligible.
Yeah.
Know that either.
We do a lot of advertising, and that is to reach that demographic, the ones who don't know.
I noticed that too, by the way.
We try to advertise on the radio. We try to be frugal with the money, but we're trying to get the word out there. And in turn, if someone takes advantage of their benefits, it's a good thing for this county, because monies that come into this county are spent in this county. So we do a lot of outreach and we do a lot of advertising.
And not everybody will get compensation if they don't have a sickness or an illness or injury or something.
You have to qualify, but
You know.
you need a discussion, as you
Yeah,
always
but
say.
at
Let's
least,
talk, right?
at least come out to the
Yeah.
office so we can get you in our system and, we know you're a veteran in our county.
We always try to focus on what we can do instead of what we can't
Right.
do. We're county, same as you. We don't run the show, but we look at every aspect that we can to help veterans. We investigate things. We have a pretty savvy staff.
Very.
Awesome. Okay, we good?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Are
Thank
we
you.
free to go?
You're free to go. God bless you, and thanks for coming in.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Nice, we're really proud of our veterans, and we're proud of what you guys do for our county.
Thank you so much.
I tell you, Seneca County is, at these commission meetings we go to, Seneca County is very well known. People look at us like we're like the best county, best troop.
As a model.
That's
Yeah.
because Ken keeps you straight.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Isn't it rewarding to bring in people like that? I mean, it's just awesome.
A lot of them continue to serve or do things. You see them out in the community, at the parades and the funerals and doing community service projects. I mean, they still continue to serve.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, Commissioner reports, flip the coin.
Go ahead, William.
Okay. Till Monday, was over to Fostoria for the Rotary Luncheon. I did the State of the County address.
you have a tie on?
I had a tie, yes, yeah. I didn't have a tie, I had a suit coat on, so
Okay,
right, yes.
sport coat,
right,
good.
Great, so, yeah, actually, I hit my limit this week for ties and, so, yeah, it's getting there, but, so, yeah, it's been great, it was nice to visit with the folks over at Fostoria, kinda gave them updates, some changes and how we're including Fostoria in our grants and other activities and stuff over there that we're doing, so, good meeting on that. We had, we'll continue working on a budget, all three of us and Barb and everybody kind of work on that. Had Land Bank with Renee from Fostoria Economic Development, kind of going over some of the projects, and there's a couple projects that Prosecutor Devine, he wanted to add in for looking for next year and stuff on it. Actually, and then we had the Ellis Street ribbon cutting, Tyler, myself, Dennis, everybody, what a great event that is, that,
Pretty cool.
I hope, and I think Tiffin does appreciate Matt Watson. I mean, when I was talking to the E.S. Wagner guys, they said he was fantastic to work with, just really dedicated and made things really smooth while they was doing their construction work there. So, big shout out to Matt Watson. He's, I tell you what, he's really a good guy and keeps things, again, he's one of those guys that keeps things moving. He just got done with that and he's looking about doing something out to Sixth Corner, another, big project out there. So he's constantly looking at how to retrieve funds and try to, make things better at Tiffin. So we're fortunate for Tiffin to have him available and doing that. So
That's great.
yesterday, as Mike alluded to, Sherry, myself, Dr. Wolf, who's down at Columbus there, kind of meeting with the reps that are on the committee for Senate Bill 119, answering questions, working with them, and had a good day yesterday. We hit most of them. If we didn't hit them, we hit their age and stuff on it and left material there. So it was, I think, a good day down there. So yeah, it was, we had one down. So
You're out of sight, out of mind. so
right, exactly. So
need
just
to
kind of
keep doing
refresh them.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Good.
brings it, then noon today, I gotta go to Kiwanis, that's why I'm all dressed up for another state of the county address and stuff on it over there for them, so that's what I've been up to.
Get ready to eat, because they have good lunch.
Do they have good, okay, good to know.
Okay, it'll be great. Yeah.
So that's, yep.
Great, good job, yeah.
All right, had a busy week this week. So we had an EMS meeting here on Monday, kind of met internally to go over some stuff. We also had a Board of Elections meeting that was also the same day, going over election results and that sort of thing. They were doing some cleanup there. Also, as Bill alluded to, we had Land Bank as well. Just real quick with Land Bank, I think right now, just to run across a few quick numbers, right now we have between 60 to 65 properties that are for sale, 12 possible properties for brownfield grants, so we're exploring those. And then bank account's looking pretty good, but Renee and the committee does a really good job of running that, so getting rid of community blight and getting some of these parcels and properties back on the tax rolls. As Commissioner Frankert alluded to, we also had the Yellow Street Bridge opening. I'm just gonna echo what he said about Matt Watson, rock star for the city, does a lot of good things. He puts in a lot of overtime. To him, it's not a 9-to-5 job. The guy works his tail off. I've known Matt for a long time. We graduated together, but just he's the kind of employee that just goes 110%. We've also been having budget meetings this week, so we're kind of fine tuning that, going through numbers. More to come on that. I know we got some meetings set up for next week, so taking a good hard look at that. Tomorrow I'll have Recovery Task Force meeting. That will be at the church here behind the courthouse. So I'll be at that, going over some of the issues here, troubles plaguing some of the community here as far as drugs and recovery goes. Got some tree lightings here in the next week. Tiffin, Fostoria. There's a Christmas parade. I know Commissioner Frankert and I will be attending. I'm not sure about Paradiso, but
I'm at a wedding, so.
Not yours though, right?
Your sister's grand, how would that be?
say it again.
Son? No, they're just in the wedding. In Clyde, it's in Clyde. Yeah, Seth and Maddie both are maid of honor and best man, yeah, in the wedding.
Also had some conversations with GLCAP this week. We're looking at some different grant opportunities for some things. Had an open house for Mood Studio, which opened up in the Laird. Taking off my commissioner hat here for a second. But in the last week and a half, we've got 2 or 3 new businesses that'll be opening up here in Seneca County. So exciting to see that small business isn't slowing down despite inflation and whatnot. But got some announcements coming out on that here soon. Lastly here, just wanted to wish a happy birthday to my grandma Anspaul and a happy birthday to Commissioner Frankert. He's celebrating his 84th.
Right on.
Happy birthday, Bill.
Thank you very much.
That's all I got.
Happy birthday. So here's the,
I do have one. This morning we had, so everybody on WTTF, we did have an interview,
Yes,
and
it was
Renee
fun.
Smith from FEDC talking about the transition in January, stuff like that. So if you guys get time, it's recorded.
Did you say Renee?
Nice job. Renee was on with
Nice.
me this morning, and yeah,
good job getting the word out there. So I went back, we had a discussion here about baby boomers before. And so you are a Gen X,
okay.
right?
Yep.
Born between 1965 and 1980. We won't, get the exact date.
70, 53 today, Tony.
It's 53, so you're right in the sweet spot of Gen X.
Right.
There are many of us in this room that are boomers, 1946 to 1964. And if you were born before 46, you're the silent generation. It used to be the greatest generation. It still is. So the silent generation formally is 1928 to 1945. So you'd be 78 to 95 years old. Baby boomers are 59 to 77. Bill's a Gen Xer at 43 to 58. We have millennials that are 27 to 42. We have one of those up here. So
I don't identify as a
we are representative of a millennial, a Gen Xer, and a baby boomer. So
That's good.
that's part of my report, just so the county knows that we're diversified in our thinking out there. Just a few things I would like to add as far as the budget process goes. We have a lot of, there's a lot of meetings going on, as you can imagine with year end. So on the EMS side, we will, the EMS board voted to take on the territory over by the city of Fostoria. So there was an agreement with the Fostoria City Fire Department to basically take runs on a third of the county, a third of the township over there. And we have a full-time squad in Bettsville. The citizens in that area approved the new levy, they're paying the tax. So January 1, Senate County EMS will be taking on the entire county over there with the exception of Fostoria and Bascom. In addition, Mayor Greenslade in the back, good to see you. We will be taking on the village of Green Springs in January 1st. We've been talking about that. It never goes fast enough from my end, but there's a lot of good discussion. I think we just ordered a ventilator. We're trying to get the equipment we need for the nursing home there. There's a series of meetings scheduled starting next week. I know, Mayor, you're at several of those. So we're going to take on some additional coverage, and that something we're working on and planning for. Budgetary-wise, EMS is going to finish the year pretty good, pretty much like we all thought, and that'll be at our third Thursday meeting. We'll lay that out. So that's that. As far as the county budget goes, I like our approach. So, you know, we're coming off a couple COVID years. Last year, we were in transition. We had, you know, Stacy left as our administrator. We had Jamie in there. Barb was still here, but not in an administrative capacity. So we put together a budget last year that was pretty good. But this year, we're spending a lot more time. We have new commissioner. And so I really like the process. I don't know what you guys think. Barb's doing a great job, and the electeds are doing a great job, but this takes a lot of time. So it's not, we are going through line by line, and we're working on that. We have requests. We started with requests of $1,600,000, with some raises baked in that, but not really, you know, not a lot of raise money baked in that. But that's kind of where we had $1,600,000 more in requests than we had last year. That's how we started. And we are attacking that pretty good, I think. We're discovering things, we're working at whittling that down. I feel we're gonna have a pretty good, we're gonna have a good budget when we're done, and we still have some work to do. So is that a fair statement? You can just nod. Okay. Are you good with that? Yeah, I just want everybody to know, you know, this is not like, oh, it's the same as last year, and, you know, there's a lot going on.
Definitely not a rubber stamp.
Yeah, you know, our income is up 2.4%, but, you know, our expense requests are way higher. If we just give a 3% raise, I'm not saying we're going to, but we only have 2.4% total, more money than we had last year.
Every 1%.
Health insurance went up 140,000, and, you know, so we have to kind of maneuver things. But attacking utilities and maintenance and our buildings and those it'll all come together, I think, in the end. The other thing we're doing this year, which we talked about, we've been talking about, now's the time, and it hurts a little bit, is we're setting up accounts for vehicles, to replace our vehicles. We're setting up an account to replace our hardware, all our computers. We're setting up an account to fund payouts. I don't have the number, but it's a six-figure. What's your guess on retirements? It's over 100,000. We're putting a grid together. We're going to take a 5-year average, and we're going to try to fund that, because when we sit here and somebody retires, we have to pay out $40,000, and that's not in our budget. That stuff starts to add up. So guess what that does? That puts more stress on more cuts, because that never was in there before. So we're really trying to be reasonable and fair to ourselves and to the public, and create these accounts and put some money in there, and not go crazy and try to overfund them or anything like that, but it's the discipline of kind of getting comfortable. And Barb's she worked in the auditor's office 5 years, she's got a nice accounting background, she gets it, and that's really a pleasure to work with her as can you make a column for this? Can you do that? Can you pull this information? And I think I really just want everybody to know we're putting a lot of time in it. And I think it's gonna be a good ending, but we're not done yet. We do expect our goal, it was around this time to approve the budget. We've kicked it down to the 21st of December. We should be in good shape way before that, but it might take that long to officially adopt it. You guys all agree with that? Mm-hmm. So that's my report. Barb?
I have a couple of things.
Okay.
I want to look at the calendar for meetings for the month of December.
Okay.
Since we will be at CCAO conference next week, we will not have a meeting on the 7th. But I would like to request that we have that meeting on the 5th, which is Tuesday. I know it's a short turnaround, but I do have a few things that
We'll make it work.
need to be addressed, and they couldn't wait till the 14th. So Teresa Sullivan from the museum has requested to come in, and
So
she
we were gonna
said,
have her come in the 21st.
she called and she originally had said the 21st, but then she said if we were having a meeting on Tuesday the 5th, that would probably work better for
Works for
her.
us.
Think of 10 a.m.?
Yeah,
You
just
good?
a regular, just move the date, the time will be the same. And then I think the rest of the meetings for the month should be okay on the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. And the 28th would be an as-needed meeting. If there's no, Budget Commission meets that day if they need to do any kind of certification for the end of the year. So that might lead us into a meeting.
They meet twice in December.
Yes, their next
So they will meet
meeting,
the 5th, so we'll go to that
their
at
meeting
9.
will be met on the 5th.
Yeah,
And then they also have another meeting on the 19th, and again on the 28th, if necessary, for Budget
well, they do
Commission.
meet on the 19th. then.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so ideal. Everything's good at the 19th, we have our final meeting on the 21st.
yeah,
Merry
ideally, that should be our last meeting of the year, provided that everything goes the way it should. So the 28th would be an as-needed meeting, I believe.
All good there. And
Okay.
then our first meeting in January, is it like the 4th or something?
It would be
'Cause I
the,
was planning on, I'm gonna work around it. We meet the first Thursday, right?
Yep.
It's
yes, the
January
4th,
early.
yes.
Yeah, okay, so it'll be the 4th. Sounds good.
Yes, because we have to have officials elected by the second Monday per ORC. And even though the
Okay.
first is a holiday, it's still, with the first falling on Monday, the 8th would be the second Monday, so we would have to meet on the 4th to do our organizational meeting, basically.
So today's Thursday, we're back here Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Okay,
I do have a few things already for that agenda, so it will probably be a shorter meeting. Just, I gave financial information at the last meeting on the 16th. I did not have sales tax yet, so I do have sales tax numbers for you. Collected in November was $940,921.38. It is up almost $9,000 from the previous year, but we're down $18,600 from the previous month. So,
so year-to-date, how are we trying?
our year-to-date, we have
What
collected 90% of what Budget Commission certified at $12,050,000 for sales tax. So we,
12,500,000,
$12,050,000,
50.
yes, is what they certified, Budget Commission for revenue. We have collected in total through November, $10,876,924.45. So we would need to collect almost $1 million in the month of
Over that.
December. Yeah, in the month of December which would be any sales for the month of October roughly.
What did we do last year, December?
Last year in December, we did $980,000,
So we'll be-
so it's gonna be close.
Christmas spending.
We have 6 main sources of revenue, so if we undershoot sales tax by 100,000, we could have more money in interest income, or have more money in jail revenue, or have, so it's, but sales tax is over half
Yeah.
the income, so.
Yeah.
That's what we thought,
Right.
We thought it would flatten out, and it's might just, a point or two the other way.
And this
So-
all plays into the next year's budget, because if sales tax continues to trend downward, that means our collection is less, which means our budget needs to be less.
Everyone in the audience and watching this tape understands this in the future. We cannot spend more than we have, and we cannot authorize or allocate more than the Budget Commission certifies. So if the Budget Commission says, this is how much money we anticipate you're going to have in 2024, when we approve our budget, it has to be that or less. We cannot go over that. Now, there's a loophole, we could take some carryover money and we could do some things, but the bottom line is, unlike the federal government, we can only spend what we have. So we're always cautious about looking ahead at economy and demographics and just everything, So, I think we're okay, right? I think it's kind of, but it's cautious okay.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
be really careful with the
Right?
budget.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're good, I know,
Yeah.
Tyler, you've done like that too the whole time, so. Okay, good.
That's all I have for my report.
So, we'll jump into new business.
Do you want to go over budget in old business? Or,
I do, I stuck that in, but it's your turn. I
okay.
said I said
Okay,
what I was gonna say in
okay.
old business, so I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yep.
So
So we're
I,
in old business, and we're gonna just circle back on budgets. Barb's gonna give us an update.
in 2023, Budget Commission certified $21,300,000 roughly. 2024, they've certified $21,800,000, which only gives us an additional $519,000. Again, as Tony said, that it's,
2.43%.
yeah, it's 2.43% in total. And the requests that have come in are over $22.1 million. So we have to come up with, that 1.6 million to reduce.
So my 1,000,006 number was based on last year's budget.
So,
We have a
yeah,
little-
so we have a little bit of room, but there's not a lot, and it's, I
But we
mean,
haven't put any salaries in there either.
yeah, salaries,
We're
we've
prob-
talked about it, but
yeah.
we have to figure out all the other before we can actually
So
put
we're-
that number
And
in.
then when we had the vehicles and everything in, so we're purely 600 apart, plus all those other things I mentioned.
Yeah,
We could be 1,000,000 apart
yeah,
as of right this minute,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So we're continuing to work on that, and there will be requests from offices to explain some of their numbers, whether it be from me or one of you. We will be reaching out on some of those that we have questions on.
Yep, it's a process. It's good.
That's what I have.
Okay, any other old business? Anybody will bring anything up? We good? Okay, but new business, supplemental appropriation.
Excuse me. Okay, for supplementals, I have fiscal year 20, the COSAP fund, which is the Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program, requesting contract services in the amount of $88,206.67. This is a large dollar amount. It kind of took me by surprise. It's for a company that does the administrating of this grant. And they are just now billing us starting from October of '21 through June 30th of this year. So that's part of this. I also will tell you that the sheriff's office is working with them to get them to bill them quarterly, so this dollar amount is not so large. But it's a grant that they have.
So we had money.
Yeah, the money
Wasn't one of those
is
use
part
it,
of the
lose it.
grant, so
Yeah.
they didn't, I mean,
That's the
they,
admin fee, or that's?
yeah, that's just for administrating the grant.
What's the, I mean, that's,
I don't know. I don't have all the details on that grant, but that's what I was told by Lex from the sheriff's office. And then apparently this consulting company has extended the contract for this grant till, she believes it's October of '25.
do we know how much we've been awarded through their services?
I would have to go back and look.
I got questions on that one, I guess.
She has gone through detail, they sent a detailed bill, she went through it. And,
So you're on the right track, so I want to just ask this question. Is this in and out? Is this our money, or is this grant money did we get the grant and we're just paying them?
yes,
So this is not, you make a good question, what's the grant for, how much? But in the end, is it 100% grant with no match? So it's money in,
I'm
money
not
out?
certain of that.
Okay, so then I would.
I'm not certain
Then
of
I would
that.
agree with him that let's just pull it till Tuesday. Can we do it
Yeah.
Tuesday? Do you mind? That's a good catch. You okay with that?
Yep, definitely.
All right, keep going, please.
I have VOCA, the Fund 2112, their transfers out of $100,000. This is for their year-end transfer to the new fund that they'll be using for the federal fiscal year of 2024. And then I have the VOCA grant of the 2138, which is the new federal fiscal year grant account number that they're using for workers' comp, $777. Workers' comp cash of $1,015.59, and hospitalization cash for $110.30. This is to cover the expenses for the remainder of 2023 for their payroll. I have the House Revolving Loan Fund, other administrative expenses for $3,183. This is for an admin fee for Phase 2 to GL Cap from the CHIP program of payment year of 2022 for the Stephen Stoll project. And then I have the County Sewer District Fund contract services, $800. This is for the remainder of 2023 for expenses for the 23-24 sewer district.
Motion to accept the new business and supplemental appropriations as presented, but pulling the first
The concept fund.
contract services for $88,000.
I'll second that.
I'll second, but I got a question before we go.
Commissioner Franklin
The-
seconds it.
Okay.
The Sewer district fund, do we know what that's for, what payment that is?
I do not. That was all the information that was given to me.
That goes for regional planning?
It's regional planning, so I would assume, being a contract service, it could be to pay for testing.
Yeah, let's go till Tuesday, let's figure out that
We'll
is.
pull that. this year.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
That's not us eating the late fees.
Sorry to have you,
That's what we're gonna find out.
Okay, good catch.
no problem. It's only a couple days, so we're not gonna stress anybody out.
No.
Okay, so we amend your motion.
Yep.
To pull those two. You have that, Sherry? And a second by Commissioner Franker. Roll call?
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Okay, on to resolutions. I have a resolution amending the appointment for James Flint to the Seneca County Law Library Resource Board. This is just to,
He's already
he's
currently on
already
there.
currently on the board. He is requested to fill another term starting January 1. I don't know if that's correct.
Have we ever called him James? since I've
Probably
been here?
not.
Has anybody ever heard of Jimmy?
It's always been Jimmy.
I didn't even know his real name, no.
It's always been Jimmy.
Motion to approve the resolution?
Second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with Crawford County Board of Commissioners for the receipt, custody, and care of Crawford County juveniles on behalf of the Seneca County Youth Center for 2024.
So move.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
A resolution amending the board's order of December 6, 2007, Journal 81, pages 226 and 227 of the Seneca County Purchase Order Policy Plan.
So we'll have discussion here, but I'll make the motion, we approve it.
Second.
Okay, a little discussion. So, I'll attempt to save your voice for, unless you wanna do it.
I can do it. It
You
might
good?
be easier if
You
I
just do
explain it.
We've been talking about this for a while.
This is a recommendation coming from the state auditor's office so that we are following ORC that states that the blanket purchase orders have to have they have an amount that they cannot exceed. And that is what we are quantifying here, not to exceed $50,000 for a blanket purchase order. And the super blanket purchase orders, we are basically stating that they can be in any amount and remain open all year. But these are only for expenditures that are recurring and reasonably predictable, such as utilities, gas, stone for the engineer's office, asphalt, those types of things. So those are the major things that are changing. The other thing that's changing is that they used to have, with the old resolution, they had to be closed on November 30th. And then they would have to open regular purchase orders in the month of December. We have now changed that to read that, I have to find it again. They can remain open through the end of the year, but they have to be closed by the last scheduled pay date according to the auditor's office yearly billing payment schedule, except for utility and credit card payments. So they have a regularly scheduled pay date. It's usually like the second to last Thursday of the month of December, that they pay all of their regular bills. And then they have a special run the very last Thursday of the month to cover utilities or credit card payments that would need to be paid by the end of the year. So that is why that language is in there.
Way more
So it's
user-friendly.
more user-friendly,
Yeah.
so that they can use these purchase orders until, generally, the idea is December the 20th is the ideal time frame. It's gonna be around that date that they're gonna end up having to close these purchase
I
orders.
think it's great. Yeah, you like it.
I think it works for
Derek
everybody,
likes it.
with I think it works with everyone
Plus
in the
it's
county.
cleaning up what the state auditor wanted us to do.
Yes, exactly, so
Well-
we will have a comment in '23, possibly, as a recommendation that we do this, but since we're doing it now, it may fall off that we've established this.
So John, you lived through that. So basically in the past, when December first came, you couldn't buy anything. All POs and everything were cut, and then it was just, they were stopped, frozen.
It was a little
crazy. Month
chaotic.
December, court orders, just
So-
everything. So this goes a long way, so thanks. Julie too, she was part of this.
Yeah, Julie
You worked with Julie.
spearheaded most of this so that we could get it taken care of, and
Give her credit, everybody's trying to.
we've
work
talked
together.
through it, so.
So, good. So, we have a first and a second. Do
Excuse
we
me.
have a second?
Yes, we do have a second.
Roll call.
Mhm. Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Resolution amending Resolution 2023-54, appointing Stephen Simpkins victim of crime and removing Lydia Lee victim of crime as a member of the Board of Corrections Board.
So move.
Second.
Okay, discussion, we good? Roll call?
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Okay, so this might take me a minute, so I need to get a drink of water. Next resolution is authorizing a sub-grant agreement between Wood County Department of Job and Family Services and the Child Welfare Fellowship Project Party, which includes Allen, Auglaize, Ashland, Hancock, Hardin, Ottawa, Putnam, Preble, Seneca, Sandusky, Williams, Warren, Athens, Fairfield, Morrow, Henry, Marion, and Scioto counties Department of Job and Family Services on behalf of the Seneca County Department of Job and Family Services.
Motion. Second?
Okay, I'm good. Discussion? Roll call?
Excuse me, Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing a lease agreement with the Seneca Township trustees effective December 1st, 2023, and ending November 30th, 2122.
That's not a typo.
I know.
Okay, I would like to make the motion that we make the motion to approve this.
Second?
Okay. Quick discussion. We've talked about this before. Gail, this is something you've been involved with from the beginning. The Seneca County Township trustees have some land available. And we have surveyed the land. We have discussed the EP, with the EPA, septic and water needs. We have engaged our architect, and we've discussed it with the county engineer. We've all been out there, toured it. I represented the commissioners, Mike Steyer represented the Seneca Township trustees. We met with Derek a couple times, going around, cleaned up some language on the lease. The Seneca Township trustees signed it, right? Notarized
Yes.
it and dropped
Yep.
it off here.
Yep.
So they did that this week.
So we can take board action and get it, so it's effective for
So,
tomorrow.
Passage of this will allow us to proceed with putting documents together to bid out the project. So in the end, we are obtaining a site for EMS station number 2. We're not paying anything for the land. This is a 100-year lease with the land. And it's great. I mean, they're going to plow the snow. We've got easements both ways. It's a win-win for everybody. What Seneca Township gets out of it is they get to tap, simplified, they get to tap into our new septic system because they need, they have a restroom they use about twice a month. So they don't have to do that. EPA's already approved everything. So we're real excited that they're stepping up. And it's the perfect spot on County Road 6 to accomplish what we need to accomplish to the south. So I'm excited. This takes time, but you will then be, we will be at some point putting a big package together, bidding it, awarding the bid to start in spring. Hopefully we can get this started, I don't know, April or May, March, April or May. Okay, anybody want to add anything to that?
Nope.
This mainly for the public's understanding. We will, roll call, have roll call.
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. So, does that complete your?
That completes my reports.
Okay, so on the agenda next, we have executive session to go, to discuss consideration for the purchase of some property. We do not expect any action to come out of this executive session, so before we make a motion to go into that, I'd like to open up public comment. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Then everybody doesn't have to hang out. You're welcome to stay. We will come out of executive session and adjourn the meeting, but
Don't anticipate any action.
don't anticipate any action. So if anyone in the audience would like to speak, I'm looking out. It's like the teacher that looks out, you know. If you did something wrong, a teacher would look at you, and this is what you do. So you could always, I always knew.
How do you
I
know
was a
that?
teacher in the old days, yeah, because I could always tell who was guilty. But anyone want to say anything? We good?
I'm
Mr. Breidenbach.
just glad you brought up about the engine, I can't say.
Yeah, I
the
can't
word.
either.
Indigent.
Indigent.
Brought that up, that other people know it.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing it up to us, because we didn't know it. Well, I didn't know it, and I'm assuming, new people come on and,
I think one of the drivers, one time, when I went to Ann Arbor, or maybe Toledo, the VA, we might have been talking about it. I think it was a driver that said something to me.
well, it sounds like Seneca County has some options, we have some resources.
Yeah.
The legal entity where that person resided, they have the responsibility to pay for the stone. So I think we could have a
Yeah,
dignity and a decent burial for anyone that can't afford it. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. Anything else? Anybody? You guys good? So at this time, I'm showing 11:16 PM. I would like to make a AM.
Make a motion.
So I had a senior moment and a gap at the end. 11:16 AM, so I'll make a motion.
Was it a senior moment or a baby boomer moment?
Fill in the blank, a Tony moment, you always say, yeah. So I'll make a motion, we go in executive session to discuss purchase of property.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Shuff seconds, roll call.
Commissioner Franker,
Yes.
Commissioner Shuff, Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. Gonna have a little fun. Okay, thank you, everybody. Head to the back. Yeah, we're ready. So it's 11:37, still AM.
Yep.
We're back out of executive session. No action was taken. So I need a motion to come out of the session.
I move to come out of session.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Franker?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.